Hello and welcome in. Let's make sure my mic is looking good. Looks perfect. Hello and welcome into the Real Time Red Pill here with Atlas Thug, your host, also known as Aaron Shepard. I wanted to obviously step into some World War III tensions. I mean, you read the title. World War III tensions on the horizon. I mean, civil war bubbling here in the United States. Plus, Con Inc. is back at it again with their just cringe, dude. Cringe cultural pieces. And a possible big debate between some of the bigger red pill people and Christ pill people, including Myron Gaines, Sovereign Bra, Mike Pintil, Pearl Davis, etc., etc. So a lot to get into. And I'm a little unprepared too because I worked earlier today and just did not have a good day, to put it lightly. But let's see what I have here pulled up here right now. So for those of you who aren't aware, an enemy drone killed 3 U.S. Service members in Jordan. Now, I saw a report also that followed that up a bit later, which I did want to highlight, which you'll see this portion here is highlighted here in the purple. This is from the AP. U.S. forces may have mistaken an enemy drone for an American one, and they let it pass unchallenged into a desert base in Jordan, where it killed 3 U.S. troops and wounded dozens more. Now, I believe the exact numbers were, 3 died, and, the unfortunate aspect, and people are already making memes about it, where all 3 of them were black, as far as I understand. And I believe it was around 25 other service members were injured, and, however matter light that may be to how severe it is, I'm not sure. But the point stands, though, may have mistaken it for a friendly drone. I mean, I guess when I'm just kind of reading this, to me, it just seems like a false flag. I mean, I'm too keen. I'm too used to being psyopted into so many things that I just read this. It just comes off to me, at least, as a false flag. Letting a drone come unchallenged. I mean, we're not that far removed from October 7th. And to think, are the security measures that we have in place just so piss poor that these things just happen? To think that here in the United States, I guess not here in the United States, but, United States defense in Jordan just lets a drone come through. Then you compare it with the Gaza conflict with this, the paragliders, and then using tricycles and other random, means to get in. And we even had reports that, Egypt had I don't know how long it was before or prior, but Egypt had sent, some level of intelligence to Israel, letting them know that they had believed that Hamas was planning to do something, so to be on the lookout. But to think that Israel, of the security state that it is, the militarized nation that it is, to not just downright annihilate the paragliders just didn't make any sense. And so it broke a lot of things open for people, which is why you have a large plurality of people who think that it was a false flag. They find it hard to believe that not only was there no information, but there was such a lack of response that it's hard to believe that Israel was just had spread the resources too thin, or they were that unprepared. And so it's a hard thing to swallow for a lot of people, to take it as it is from the, mainstream media, especially when we're so used and accustomed to being lied to all the time. So it's hard to swallow these things. So you got to take every bit with a grain of salt. And I feel this same sentiment here reading this, which is, again, too, why are we even in Jordan? I heard this on a podcast earlier, which is were these guys here for bait? Were these guys just literally purely stationed here for the sole purpose of baiting an attack to, further our expansion and further our warmongering overseas? And, probably. I mean, that's in my belief, probably. I really am not going to give the benefit of the doubt to these people anymore, particularly with just how bad things are getting, and also with how transparent some of this garbage is. The simple fact of this is an outside example, but the fact that we can't get Jamal, Bowman in prison for the stuff that he did, that Congress is just so lazy to move on something like that. It's dude, these people don't care. If they can't use the little power that they have to blatantly, discipline somebody, using the law, for disrupting something of that level, it's just dude, they ain't gonna do nothing. They ain't gonna do absolute jack garbage. And along the lines of this, which I couldn't find the one about Sweden. So this is an entirely different article. This is from The Guardian. The army chief of the United Kingdom says that their current generation is a pre-war generation who needs to be ready to fight Russians. So this is along the cause of mobilizing or mass mobilization. Now, I did hear, and I checked before I went live, I could not find an article to verify this, so don't take my word for it, fact check me on this, that Sweden had also had similar calls to mass mobilize. Now, I'm not sure if those mass calls were also, I mean, I would assume they were also due to the Ukraine conflict and as well. But what I found funny was almost everyone, as you read through this article, essentially everybody wanted to separate themselves from the army chief. So if you read this here, Downing Street has dismissed a warning from the head of the British Army that the UK public must be prepared to take up arms in a war against Vladimir Putin's Russia because today's professional military is too small. So this is the army chief saying that he believes like their forces are just not enough. Like they're blatantly not enough if conflict was to get to the next level of where it's at. And to think that the prime minister didn't agree with the general, it just is like, aren't you supposed to be listening to your general? Like, isn't that why you put him in that position, is to make these calls to you? Like, he's supposed to be in your ear about these kinds of things? Like, it just doesn't really make any sense. But it just goes to show that it's beginning to spread, and it's not like it hasn't been, but just to show like on all sides, everyone's feeling this across the globe. All of the major parties that are involved, in these geopolitics, that's lending itself to the escalation, the tensions that just keep, they feed into one another, and so it's like if say the United States does start having conflict on the southern border, and it starts to be a bit more, it escalates to a level of where we have to actually like start ensuring that we have resources and making sure traffic is right, putting up checkpoints. Like if it got to that level, well, obviously we got to pull a bunch of resources from the military and National Guard and house and source them, inside, reducing our ability to maneuver overseas and care, mainly about the conflict that happens outside of here. Thus, then lends itself to things like, oh, well, now we're too weak to ever, prevent or keep like our strike groups in Taiwan. This leads to like a lack of presence in every other area because you have to focus on home first. That becomes the priority no matter what, especially because the people who will have the grievances are going to be the ones who vote to elect you in the come next election. So it kind of forces things to come home no matter what, no matter how badly they may want to warmonger overseas. And I had another piece here, but maybe I got rid of it. And I find it funny that, because I believe that the general's right. Like, if we are going to be in this period of all of these insane tensions, all of the rising global tensions, I think that's not just like a UK thing. I think that's a every country kind of thing. That's almost every single major country that's in, first world Western society. The kids aren't ready for war. This is not a war generation. Like, we're the weak generation. And so I think he's got a good point to the fact of like, dude, if this does get to certain levels, like, we're going to have mass casualties because we're going to have an insane amount of people who are unprepared and unable, or don't even have the capacity to understand like what they should be doing in terms of like fighting. Like, I understand a lot of people, be like food and water and the basic stuff, but how many people know how to like actually like clean a gun? How many people know how to unjam? How many people can even like take apart their own gun who actually own them? And so there's different levels and things that you'll have to deal with because, dude, you get mud stuck and you have one handgun and it gets jammed. Well, then what are you going to do if you don't know how to take the thing apart and clean whatever needs to be, whatever debris needs cleared out or whatever needs, cleaned up so that the slide is clean, and just things that people don't really think about too. And to stretch it even further, I had a bookmark here with I believe it was Ron DeSantis. The call to, let me just look it up, it'd be easier, to deport Ilhan Omar, which has become a meme. But my point with this is we have all these things going on here in the US. And then we get people like Ilhan Omar And we should just take a bit to listen to this. There's not the 16-second version. I know she's got a little bit of a longer version that I do want to play here. Here it is. Don't just read this. Forgive me, man. I'm having a hard time talking. Ilhan Omar has never put this country or its people first. She is a traitor to both. Should we deport her? And now this is coming because Ron DeSantis had quoted, I believe, the original video where this had come from, and said, not only should we expel her, but we should deport her. Now, I just want you guys to go ahead and listen to this. We'll listen to it together. Because I would say I can't believe that I hear this stuff. But that's a lie. Like, of course I believe it. Like, these people don't care about this country. I don't honestly really expect them to ever again. It's just one big grift. It doesn't matter. I'm getting so jaded with every side, almost every pundit, every commentator. It just feels like, why is it so hard to say just the truth? Like, why is it so hard to say, like, what's right in front of us? So let's go ahead and take a listen to this.
dad badan ay soo wacay oo waxay leeyihiin ilhaan dowladda Mareykanka inaan
Why is my sound messed up? That sucks. It's just that I messed with it from the last spaces. Forgive me, guys. Let me pull this up real quick. I know you can't see what I'm doing, but I just got to switch my sound over to my actual headset. I don't want to pick up on the mic and give bad echo feed. Okay, now we're good. I'll restart it.
dad badan ay soo wacay oo waxay leeyihiin ilhaan
Somalia first. Yes. Down with America. If any, I'm serious, if any politician says this, dude, immediate expulsion from Congress.
dowladda Mareykanka inaan la hadasho
Down with America.
waaye dowladda Mareykanka maxay ka qabanaysaa jawaabteedu waxay ahayd dowladda Mareykanka waxay ka qabanaysaa wixii annaga aan dhahno dowladda Mareykanka qabo waa kalsoonidaas inaan isku qabno annaga Soomaali hadii aan nahay wadankan annaga ku nool wadankan wadankii aan annaga tax ka dhiibno waaye waa wadankii gabar idinka dhalatayne ee Congress ka fadhiso intii aniga aan Congress joogo
I don't think that's the real captions. I want to be honest with you. After seeing a couple of those, I'm like, actually, I don't think that's real. Where is the original video? There we go. About fake news to everybody on this platform. Okay.
annaga hadii aan nahay dad Soomaali ah waxaan nahay dad isjecel waa laga yaabaa meelaha qaarkood inaan isku xagxagano laakiin hadii runtii ay imaato waxaan nahay dad isku tashto dad walaalo ah dad dhiig lah dad isku og inay Soomaali yihiin inay Muslim yihiin oo iyagana isku hiiliya dadka walaalahoodna u hiiliya marka daraad markii ayaan dhaxdaas markii aan maqalnay in qaar Soomaali ah ama Soomaali sheegato
So she's going on this rant, but just to hear your own, your own congressperson talk about the righteousness and the individuality, or I guess not the individuality, the collectivism of Somalians and the Muslim. It's just, could something be any further removed from like being meaningful to like the discourse of our politics in America? Like, you have all like we're blatantly like bleeding out in terms of our population. We're probably looking at just regressing hardcore. Whether that comes just from people's economic troubles to the fact or people are sterilizing themselves, or the fact that you have the sexes just hate each other to such a high degree that like the dating market has become another war ground. Then civil war on the border, right? And I actually say civil war on the border. Civil war bubbling all across the United States, and you have border conflict, and then you have rising tensions geopolitically, and you have an inflationary issue that you have people paying into Social Security that they're never going to see when it's their time for their paychecks, their Social Security paychecks, and we have Ilhan Omar talking about Somalians feeling proud. Now that's not all of it, right? So we haven't even got to the juicy bit, but I just like, Is this a system worth fixing? Or do you just build down and tear anew? How hard could it be to expel somebody? And the thing is it should be harder to expel her for doing the stuff that she says here than it would be to get Jamal Bowman out of politics for the rest of his life. But that still hasn't happened. So what am I supposed to expect with this?
And in Ethiopia ay la galeen maba aqaan af Soomaali wixii lagu dhaho agreement heshiis Maxamuud Nuur hadda aniga Soomaaliga badiyo soo ceeb ma aha dad badan ay soo wacay oo waxay leeyihiin ilhaan dawladda Mareykanka inaan la hadashid waaye dawladda Mareykanka maxay ka qabanaysaa jawaabteedu waxay ahayd dawladda Mareykanka waxay ka qabanaysaa
Answer to Somalians was, let me go back so I went flash a little bit too quickly. In Help Somalia, they wanted to know what the U.S. government could do for Somalia to ensure the MOU never turns into a full bilateral agreement.
jawaabteedu waxay ahayd dawladda Mareykanka waxay ka qabanaysaa wixii annaga aan dhahno dawladda Mareykanka qabo waa kalsoonidaas inaan isku qabno annaga Soomaali hadii aan nahay wadankan annaga ku nool wadankan wadankii aan annaga tax ka dhiibno waaye waa wadankii gabar idinka dhalatayne ee Congress-ka fadhiso intii aniga aan Congress joogo wadanka Soomaaliya biyaheeda dad kaleeta iyo badeeda dad kale ma qaadanayaan
You know who is in danger right now? For as long as she's in the U.S. Congress, Somalia will never be in danger. Its waters, the Indian Oceans, will not be stolen by Ethiopia. How are you making these claims? You just blatantly, like, to see your own congressperson seemingly care so much more for the nationality of other people and then leverage the United States as the force that's going to support these things. It's just like, dude, we're just getting used. We're literally just being used we're being used for our innovation. We're being used for our culture. We're being used for our society. We're being used for the structure we provide. We're being used for our military. We're being used for, I mean, in every facet, we are being used to benefit every other aspect of every other country and their citizens' lives besides the people who live in our own country.
wadanka Mareykankana kuma taageerayo dad kaleeta in annaga ayna dhacaan marka taas ka seexda reer Minnesota gabadhii
I'm here to protect, I apologize, I don't know why it's going so fast. Sleep in comfort knowing I am here to protect the interests of Somalia from inside the U.S. system. Get this woman out. Dude, boom, bop, bing. Like, see it, dude. Like, never come back, actually, and deported. We're revoking your U.S. citizenship. Like, stop. Like, dude, she is, like, this is like when when the illegal gets on the inside, they start sending money back. Dude, somehow we let one get all the way up to the Congress. Like, dude, get this thing out of here, bro. I'm done.
Minnesota. gabadhii Congress u dirsateen way idinka war haysaa sidaad idinka u dareemaysiin dantaas ay u dareemeen madaxweyne Xasan Sheekhna waxaan
And here's another thing, like what shared interest do you think the US has with Somalia? Yeah, Somalia is just like this beautiful Christian nation, dude, that I can remember it. They're so beautiful and Christian they don't even have a recognized government. You know how many years I remember going to Wikipedia and you go to Somalia and it would just like, it had almost no information about their structure or their politics because it's just a bunch of pirates and tribes who just go around and kill each other. Just like, yeah, dude, like I'm sure we share so much. Like we're already at war with, and here, we're at war here, we're at war here. Like, dude, yeah, take more of my money and send it to a bunch of Somalis, dude. Because it's not like we're not busting out a bunch of taxpayer dollars to house them here in the States. Dude, come on, bro. It falls on deaf ears, man. And I think, at least to me, dude, it's getting to the point where it's getting like, I'm getting angry at these propositions, dude. Like, I am done, dude. No amnesty. I'd be okay if we spent the next 10 years deporting every single immigrant we have allowed in our border. Like, I mean, unless you're grandfathered in with some kind of owning property or something like that, man, maybe that's a little bit different. But, dude, I'd say you go back even 5-6 years, dude. Repeal it all. Like, you have to go, dude. Like, we're sorry we're doing this to you. The previous administration did not know what it was doing. We're sorry we're affecting you, but our country can't survive.
aan leeyahay waan kugu faraxsannahay shaqada fiican aad qabatay in dadka Soomaaliya iyo dadka meel kasta ku nool aad dareensiisay si kasta anaga aan u dhibannahay Soomaali hadii aan nahay waxaan nahay dad karti leh dad wadankooda aqoonsan dad wadankoodii aan wiligood
We are people who will never allow someone else to steal our land. You didn't even have recognized county lines until, like, you know, I think like maybe in the last couple of years. Just like, I don't.
Danger laga gelin karin. Marka waxaan reer Minnesota iyo Soomaalida meel kasta ku nool adeerkaya hadda mar dhow ka hadlaayay idinkaga hambalyeynaya sida aad iskugu wada duuban tihiin sida aad kulligiin u garab istaagteen madaxweynaheena because wuu u baahan yahay in kulligeen aan garab istaag
Somalia is for Somalis only, as over 45% of Somalia's population are not even ethnic Somalis. Well, you want to know who America's for, Mrs. Zillian Omar? It's going to sound pretty similar to what you just said. America's for Americans only. I just like, everyone else is allowed to say it but us. And I don't care, dude. I'll say it. I don't care if I get nuked, my reach gets dropped. Like, no, dude. Like, I don't care.
No. Somalia was Somali. Somalia wa hal. Walaalaan wada nahay.
Okay, dude. You honestly, I love it. I love it. The way she's talking, you don't need our help. You don't need the US at all, dude. Handle it yourselves, man. You are such a beautiful people. You shouldn't need to like be looking for handouts for nothing. You beautiful Somalis, you can build your country yourselves. Honestly, like, I think that's a better mantra. I think she's honestly doing them a disservice by trying to beg for handouts from the US government when the Somalian people are just such a great and undivided people. They should just take care of this themselves. Why would they need a handout? It's just going to hamper them. They should be self-reliant, right, Omar?
dhulkeena lagama kala qaybsanaayo dhulal baa naga maqan aan raadsanaynaa insha Allah mar maalinta laakiin inta aan haysana hadda lama kala qaybinaayo marka waa mahadsantihiin dhammaantiin sidaad ii sharaftiin oo markasta aad iigu soo dhawaysiin ilaahay idin
done with that. But then that's when you get, let me go to the Ron DeSantis tweet. Because he said something beyond just supporting her. I'm cool with just supporting her, though. He's following one person. That's funny. I love this kind of accounts. Where are we at? That's way too far. What? Term limits. Where is his? Am I just dumb? I know I'm not dumb, dude. There we go. Oh, so it wasn't from his it was from his other account. I forget that they have like their government accounts and then they'll have like their personal accounts. Like, I forget that there's always just two of them. But he said, expel from Congress, denaturalize, and deport. Which this original tweet, which is the one that I saw, I thought I had this one bookmarked. An American congresswoman tells Somalians that she is Somalian first, Muslim second. And yeah, as we just watched, America wasn't even mentioned. Not even at all. I mean, outside of the fact that she's using her position here to leverage us to help them. That's the only mention that she gave of us. No prideship, just the fact that we're going to be used as a tool, a utility to boost another country that we have no shared interest with, that moves the needle not an ounce on any, relations here in the United States, doesn't benefit one single American to send their money to Somalia. It's just the most could you bring up anything more dumb than this? I would it would have fallen on the same ears had she just been like, we should spend $3,000 a month on hot dog stands for autistic disabled children in wheelchairs. I just could you be any more disconnected from anything that matters to real people, your actual constituents? Who knows, dude? It's a beautiful thing to see her like talking a foreign language, right? And be like, and that's fine. Like, why don't you go to Somalia and politicize for them? Lead them. Stop using your position here to leverage resources out of this country. Just like, it's so angering, man. It's angering on levels that it's just like, you just get tired of seeing it. And this isn't like graphic content. It's so grating because it's so tone deaf. And let's go ahead and move on to the next topic because this stuff makes me angry. Con Inc. strikes again, and this one I actually have I got involved with a little bit myself here too. So, no. Let me find this here because I got attacked by an account that had a few thousand followers. To be honest. Oh, you know what? Forgive me. Before we move on to Con Inc., I did have this, and I said, let's see who covers this. 1.4 million impressions at the time of this post, and I have yet to see anybody cover this man's video. So it's 4 minutes long, and we don't need to watch his little spiel about it. The part is him showing these borders here. I don't know if that sounds good or not. Wow. And okay, we don't really need sound. So he's driving down the Texas border. I guess we let him talk.
Play around on here, and I don't get political. I was just in Eagle Pass.
So he's in Eagle Pass, and he had some videos he wants to show us. Now he talks about how he likes to be center. He likes to sit in the middle. He doesn't take sides. So I'm like, I really don't know what this guy's politics are. But the video, this is the crazy thing. So he shows the actual border that has military.
The fence that we put up.
Military presence.
And they put up a secondary fence because they opened the gates. There's some armed guards with some pretty serious weaponry. You know, pretty intimidating, right?
So he drives past the actual, the militarized checkpoint there at Eagle Pass. Let's see, Don, you said how anyone can vote for someone saying down with America is insane. I was curious about the Con Inc. thing. I wasn't really sure what that back and forth is about. Yeah, I'm going to get into it right after I do this. But this, I saw this video and I have yet to see anyone else pick it up or talk about this. And I believe this was from Wall Street Apes. Who
in
reposted
between
this.
The two bridges that are in the entrances into Mexico and also the entrance to Eagle Pass.
So he's showing the razor wire and a lot of these other put up fences too.
Right?
But the crazy part, you're going to see it. You know exactly what I'm talking about when you see it.
This is 0.5 miles from that area. 0.5 miles from where they set up their cameras. 0.5 miles from where they have all the people there. And it's right down the road. I left this long to show you just how short of a drive it is for us to get to a point where all that we just saw.
And before we see it, I can't tell. I don't believe there's even any razor off the top of this. And this wall looks pretty decently scalable. Like, I think, like, you know, if you give me enough time, I could probably jump that.
Does not matter. And they're just getting you riled up against each other because it's election time. And right about here is where you're going to see it.
And where's it at? Where's it at? It's coming. You ready?
What's that? Where are the armed guards? Where are the AR-15s? Where's the razor wire? Where's the gates? That's
right.
Half a mile from.
So what's crazy is this is a gate.
The media is blowing up that Texas versus the feds, that we're having this big battle. So that was one gate. That was the very first gate that I saw. We drove down a little bit more.
So that one's locked.
There's one. It had a chain on it. You got
the egregious
Trump's
one is up here.
Doing its job. This one has never even had a gate.
No gate on that, dude. And so he goes on to say, like, if you keep driving down this road, it's like every quarter mile there is an opening, you know. But this is egregious. Like, there's no gate. Like, how do you, what is that? You know, but being like less than a half mile from Eagle Pass, dude, it does raise questions because, like, I thought Texas was protecting its border well, it doesn't look like Texas is doing anything half a mile from where Eagle Pass is at. And I just thought it was insane that like I see this and I'm like, why don't I not see anybody doing this? So he goes in a tangent talking about how like he wanted to take Texas's side on this. And when he went to himself, he lives in Texas, he was like, I don't know what to think anymore. I don't know if he shows anything else after this. No, but yeah, that was just him telling him like he lives in Texas and he wanted to take Texas's side. But then he goes there and he was like, wait a minute, Texas isn't even doing what they're saying they're doing. No one's doing what they're saying they're doing. Ultimately, though, the CPB, right, Customs Border Patrol, CPB, yes, their agents stood down. They were like, we're not going to do this. Donnie said, yeah, Donnie says, like I said, stoking the fire from all sides. Yeah, Lunar Uniparty in full swing. Yeah, I know. I thought it was funny that you had that we had that conversation, Donnie, and then I believe I saw this like shortly afterwards, and I was like, what do you think, dude? What are you supposed to think if every single person is lying to you? What do you think? Is every person expected to go like say like this thing happens in Pennsylvania? Is every single person expected to go drive to Pennsylvania to have to record it for themselves? I mean, like, we're getting into portions of like, I'm already just forgive me, I'm losing the word, but I'm already just jaded with a few of the other, pundits that I follow with their hardcore positions that I just cannot bring myself to get behind. And then I get another portion of people who are sitting there screaming like, we have to compromise all of our values. It's the only way we'll win. And then you get another portion that's just lying nonstop, 24/7. And it's on both sides, dude. It is on both sides. Like, is there a real reason maybe they want to get the Civil War going here in the States? Because maybe it's a possible like wartime election thing, right? Like how many wartime presidents have not been reelected? I think every single one has been reelected. So maybe it's a way, if he looks like Trump's going to win, you go, well, like we're just going to start a civil war. That's our consolation prize. We're going to light this country on fire because that is it's the only thing we can do. We got to stop Trump. So light the country on fire. Maybe that's the real reasoning for it. But I wanted to go to moving on to the Con Inc. So if you read the title, it says Con Inc. Strikes Again. I'm referencing this to the fact that Calendargate happened under Con Inc.'s purview. It was also defended by and propped up by Con Inc. And some of the big names I would say I would throw in with Con Inc., the biggest one being Daily Wire, and a lot of your Fox 5, your post-millennial types, your essentially at most guests that go on Tim Pool's show, Con Inc., right? So let me scroll up to this here. If you're not familiar, let me just pull this up here. I don't need to go to another tab. Ben Shapiro did a song with Tom McDonald. Now, I don't have anything, against Tom McDonald per se. But this song was cringe. And I don't know if anyone has, if you guys have seen it or not. I'm sure you have, but. I don't want to look at the lyrics, dude. They're garbage. So this is how you win. If you want to stop civil war, apparently, and you want to turn people to Christ, this is what
Riverside, and here's how. After I finish recording with Riverside.
They call me offensive, controversial. There's only two genders, boys and girls.
They can't cancel my message because I'm the biggest independent rapper in the whole freaking world.
Claim that I'm racist, yeah, alright. I'm not ashamed because
I don't want to get a copyright strike, so that's all I'm gonna play from off of that. Let me just get the Ben's part here, because I think it starts right here. Like, haha, it's funny. Like, haha, cool. Like, it's funny. But like, I don't think this saves souls. Let's see who just said that. Ryan just dropped a diss track. I don't know if I know who that is. On Tom McDonald. Yeah, expand this a little bit. Maybe actually make this so I can see it better. I'm not familiar with that. Ryan Upchurch. I'll listen to that afterwards, actually, because I would be curious to listen to that. Because I don't have anything against Tom McDonald, but I just am like, I just think it's cringe that Con Inc. keeps jamming this kind of garbage down our throats, saying like, this is a win. This is a win for our culture. Like, whose culture, man? I will check out the diss track right after this. I'm glad that you brought that up. But this is Ben's part.
I don't care if I offend you.
I thought it was, forgive me. This shows how I don't care about the songs. I can't put the right spot on. It's like right here.
Let's look at the stats. I've got the facts. My money like Lizzo, my pockets are fat. Homie, I'm epic. Don't be a wap. Dog, it's a yarmulke. Homie, no cap. Look at the graphs. Look at my charts. You're blowing money on strippers and cars. You go into prison, I'm on television. Dog, no one knows who you are. Keep hating on me on the internet. My comment section all woke Karens. And I make racks off compound interest. Y'all live with your parents. Nikki, take some notes. I just did this for fun. All my people download this. Let's get a Billboard #1.
This ain't rap, this ain't money, cause
Yeah, so that's a win in the culture war, man. That's apparently what a win in the culture war is. Okay, Ryan Upchurch. I'll look this up before I go to mine. Ryan Upchurch. This dude, I never heard of him. It's got 3 million. I'm assuming it's this one. Why, boys? I'm gonna assume so. Yeah.
Church. Ask these motherfuckers what they capsize. They smile and wave to the wave, make them capsize. Rolling in my lane, then you chilling in your last ride. 5-head ass.
Oh, there we go.
What your capsize? Asking motherfuckers, I ain't fucking with me. Tom McDonald, you dentist, the menace looking ass nigga. You ain't got no bullets, it's illegal in your state, killer. Armor vest on a tank without a fucking rifle with him. Jumping up and down like he's the United cheerleader. This twat tweeting on Twitter with his gender fluid fingers. Guys, I'm saving country rap and I think I can make it better. This cracker dressing up like a bedazzled Power Ranger with some CGI cows cause they ain't got no farm around them. You can't poke at me, bitch. You a homebody in Cali. And South Park said y'all's heads already cut into halfsies. I'm invisible, lit, gas leak, invincible, spit.
Okay, so this is someone I'm not familiar with. Apparently, so I guess that's the genre then, right? Tom McDonald and this dude are in country rap. Something I'm not really familiar with this kind of genre. I've always heard of Tom McDonald because of how many like right wing people kind of push him forward. I wasn't familiar with this other guy though. I gotta say I like this other guy already. I like this other guy a lot more. But I'm gonna get back to comments here. Donnie, you said it's kind of a win for them. Their mission isn't to save souls, and that I agree with that. That's why I'm also very hardcore. Like conservatism is nothing without Christ. So like the Christless conservatism is just like, I think they should just call themselves libertarians. I think it would also be more appealing to people who want to join because they don't have to carry the Republican tag, right? And then it would just be easier to shift people over here, over to their mission, right? Because if their goal and here, let me make this form better, because I got into this argument with this account. Because this account, which is Daily Wire Friends, and they have a few thousand people that follow him, right? And the couple of like bigger names like Vince Dow and No Soup for Nose, which he says, I keep seeing people referring to this old Ben Shapiro post from 2012, thinking it owns him or something. This doesn't count as an own or an L because it's a troll, and they even admit it. And he did it in a way that proves his 2012 point admit rap music. He proved you don't really need any skill or real interest in rap to still score #1 hit and have people still think you're actually good enough to do it. Try that with another genre and see how it works. Do you really think Ben Shapiro has changed his mind about rap after proving all that? Forgive me, I don't know why I can't breathe like that. Let's see here. Listen, comments. Yeah, why boys? Yeah, it's cringe, but so is the movie they made. Yes. I'm the first to review it. Hey, that's something, right? I'll probably put a clip up on Twitter, to be honest with you. That's actually probably a good idea. The movie they made, Lady Ballers, I also am. It was cringe. Like, don't get me wrong, it was cringe, and there was so many. The biggest issue that I had with it too was like the weird, forgetting the name, Jeremy Boring, and all of like the weird fetish, like sexualized scenes between him and like that crazy lady who was like, dictating everything that he did. I thought that was kind of like, Matt's part was kind of funny because he played the hippy dippy dude pretty well, at least the way that he kind of describes them. But yeah, again, it didn't save souls. It had a very, very lack of Jesus. It was, I guess I was more okay with it just from the aspect of it was very singular on an issue of transgenderism and wasn't really trying to umbrella like what the conservative movement was, but more particularly make a poignant point against men calling themselves girls and girls wanting to be men. Is it you? Are you Ryan? No, I'm not Ryan. Is that what that guy's name is? Yeah, Ryan Upchurch. Yeah, dude. I mean, I wish I could look like that guy, dude. What is that? An upside down cross on his head, or like a little target or something? Maybe it's not real. To be honest, you didn't see the movie. It's not really worth going and seeing. I'm pretty sure it's still behind a paywall anyway. So if you're not subscribed to Daily Wire Plus, you'd have to pay like $10 for that monthly fee or whatever that premium is to watch it. It's not worth it, Donnie. Don't do it. Yes, and they are trying to make conservative a pop culture movement, which is why I was saying, don't you think it would be easier if they were libertarians? Like if they just were like, you know what, we're rebranding, guys. Like we've realized we're cutting ties with conservatives. They're too holier than thou, and we're the cool conservatives. We believe in our primary beliefs are in libertarianism, and we want to be fiscally conservative. And like I just think like if their mission was to bring more people onto their side, you would get it better with the tag name of libertarianism versus conservatism. That was just my point. So I quoted this tweet that I had just read about because just the points here too, which is that people think he's good. He has a #1 rap hit because people think he's good enough to do it. It's just like that's not what happened here. So I had responded to this tweet, which was, Daily Wire and Con Inc. rallied a large audience in a short period of time to boost sales for a single song, including affiliate pundits such as Timcast, Postmillennial, etc. The song sits at #1 because it was bought, listened to, and streamed at high volumes. It's not sitting at #1 because people loved it, nor did anyone think Ben was good. This argument you have put forward is ignorant and fools nobody. Another absolute chalkboard-screeching tone-deaf response. And my main point here, which was, how about we circle back to the song in 2 months from now, right? So that would have been like, what, a day or two ago? So how about sometime in late March, we come back to this song. I want to see what the daily volume of listens and streams are. I want to see what the daily purchase rate is, because I guarantee you it's going to fall right off of a cliff. It is because it was propagated by Con Inc. as like a gimmicky, like flash in the pan, like Ben infiltrated rap music. Ha ha ha. It's not going to last. It won't be up there for very long. It's just like, it's a cool thing. Like we made people look at Ben Shapiro who normally wouldn't look at Ben Shapiro. I don't consider that a win. They did. So what was funny was they quoted this, which I thought was great because it gave me a lot of impressions. And they barely got any likes on theirs too. Which they said to me, you should take a few minutes to watch some of the nonstop YouTube reactions that keep getting posted from people who have no idea who Ben Shapiro is, but still are praising his performance and asking their viewers to direct them to more songs, thinking he's a real rapper. I want to know on what planet or on what drugs this dude was smoking to have believed this garbage. At this point, I got angry that this was said to me. Yeah, libertarians don't have any power. That's why I'm saying you could probably give libertarians power if you got Con Inc. to just rebrand themselves as what they kind of really are. And then I think libertarians would honestly probably start dominating conservatism at that point, and conservatism would probably begin to die out if you had Con Inc. switch to being libertarian. And then you say, what, Tom's songs aren't terrible, but no one bumps him in the car. And I'm the same way. Even if you were to get rid of Ben out of that, I really am like, I'm not catching myself listening to that. Even CCG Bryson, I think he's a bit better than Tom McDonald. I can't really bump half of his stuff. I just don't like it that much. So what did I do? I responded to, I don't need to watch YouTube reactions to know there's an entire market of people who will say anything to get clicks, obfuscation and deflection. How about we stick to my original point, which is in 2 months, nobody will be streaming this, pumping this song. And then I tagged Bryson because I saw he had also been like, dude, these are just filler lines. Like, these are just throwaway lyrics. Like, Ben didn't do anything crazy. somebody probably wrote everything for him anyways, like to kind of like get with the cadence of his voice. Like, it's not cool. It's not worthy of even being news, really. It didn't help anything. It just was like a nice flash in the pan moment that all of like, Con Inc. can opine about and act as like it's a win. And so, they're just saying like, I hate the success of the song. Like that's their argument, and I told him like, drop the feminist tactics of you just hate success. And I was clearly pointing out that the song's success is being propped up by Con Inc. Like, and that's true. Like, I guarantee that if it wasn't mentioned on Tim Pool's show, if Tom McDonald didn't do an announcement for it, if it wasn't promoted by the Daily Wire, if it wasn't put up by the New York Post, if it wasn't put up by Post Millennial, it wouldn't be anywhere near what it is. But it is by the fact that all of these large accounts on right-wing Twitter helped push this thing. It is sitting at number one because of that, and it won't stay there. And Don, you said, I'm somewhere between conservative and libertarian. I used to be, and you know this too, I used to be so much more aligned with where you are. But I've just, it's not that people are moving further left than me. I'm, being more aware, by just not meditating, that's a poor word for it, but by honing my experiences, my anecdotal experiences with what I use as my moral compass, which is the Bible. It has essentially hardened me and moved me a little bit to the right. Now, to be fair, almost everybody has essentially moved a little bit left over time of the course of my life. But here recently, I've moved further to the right due to the nature of the current social climate that we're in, particularly in regards to just like how degenerate some of these things have become. And again, like, and they respond again, like this feminist garbage, dude. Like it's someone. The Con Inc. is so singular, and they lack such broadened perspective of what the true right wing is that these couple of responses are absurd. It's quite clear that they're talking to me. You're either a leftist or a Crowder loyalist. My vote's more of a Crowder loyalist. You do realize the Stop Big Con thing was just an email grab scheme, right? I mean, I get it if you didn't catch it, but I did. And I'm not even going to read all of this, dude. I'm not going to. But right here. Basically, he was the running the big con, and people like you fell for it. Saying that the only people who say big con or Con Inc. is only this. It was this one moment that Steven Crowder attacked the Daily Wire, and you fell for that, you stupid idiot. Like, Con Inc. isn't no. Do they say, I've got an idea. If you're truly conservative, how about instead of choosing sides, you simply celebrate the cultural win for conservatism? Think about how many people who had no idea who Ben Shapiro even was, who are now tuning into conservative commentary and discovering they agree with it. I just want to know who listened to that song and then went and listened to an hour of Ben Shapiro talk. I just, again, like, what these assumptions they jump to, these leaps, these gaps of logic that I cannot come to terms with. Forgive me, let's read up on. Don, you said, me and you have talked about how the problem with conservatism is that they tend to be huge dorks that aren't cool. I think that is just trying to make it cool, but for me, it just proves my point. Exactly. And they are like, it's multiple things, right? So it's really the fact of like this, what's the word for it? Genocracy, genocentrism. Yeah, I know. Isn't that hilarious that they called me a Crowder loyalist? I thought that was actually very, very, it was exceptional that someone could miss that badly. But that's right. It's this boomer corniness of, the kids will love this. Like, we're just joshing around. Like, we're swinging our weight, but it's corny. It's cringe. It's like nobody really thinks it's cool. And the only people that think it's cool are the other dorks who don't know what's cool is. Like, if Tim Pool says that you did something and he thought it was cool, it's like, dude, I mean, bro, like my grandma could watch me like jump up the stairs and say, I'm like, Grandma, I'm going to jump up 4 stairs instead of 3 this time. And she'd be like, oh, that's so cool. It don't mean nothing when the person has no idea what cool is and they use the word. Like, it's not a metric to me. It's not a metric I would use. And to tie it back to conservatism purely, it is the Christless conservatism. Christless conservatism. I cannot speak. Forgive me. the living under the genocracy, my wife runs the family. It's all of that combined. It is like this this train that has limitless momentum that I'm just watching as it goes down the rails that I can't be on anymore. I'm watching as these guys' wives tell them what to do and dictate their lives. I'm watching as they don't lead their households. They're not even the heads of their households. And that stretches, I'm sorry, if you can't be the head of a household to one woman, I cannot expect you to lead a man. I cannot expect you to lead children. I cannot expect you to lead an audience following. I can't. You're not someone I want to look to for guidance. You're not someone I want to look to for advice on marital relations. You're not someone I want to look to use as a measure of my masculinity, as of if I'm like this guy, I'm masculine. No. Donnie, you said it's like when you're a kid and your history teacher tries to rap to make history more interesting. That it's exactly what that is. And to say that it's a win is just the only people who are clapping, and be like, oh my gosh, it's the same people who were already listening to Ben Shapiro in the first place. And to think that wow, man, I'm glad Ben rapped in that video, dude. Do you see that Joe Biden's going to step down from presidency because Ben rapped? No. Hey, did you see that we got the Epstein client list completely revealed with no redactions because Ben Shapiro went and rapped? No. Hey guys, did you see that the divorce rate just instantly dropped off a cliff, down to 0%, and everyone's having kids and families because Ben Shapiro rapped? No, it's no, it's not. It's worth nothing. It's a nice thing that you can do to get pats on the back by a bunch of other people who already feel the same exact way as you do. And I think I gave one final tweet to this, which was, they responded to me again, but I ended up just sending some stupid video of coping because I just was tired of arguing with them. But I had said if your only paradigm of conservative ink is through the lens of Steven Crowder, I don't know what to tell you. It's honestly a waste of time to argue, and you've jumped to 18 different assumptions and accused me of being a leftist or a Crowder loyalist. Your long-winded explanation about a scheme of a man that I never brought up exposes your obsessive nature with the guy. View him as a villain, I don't care, he's become irrelevant. I'm honestly more upset I had to read that word vomit. I'm a white Christian nationalist. Ben, a Jew, and Crowder, who I'm not really familiar with, do not represent my positions. You, in fact, probably celebrated the Seth Weathers disgusting grift of a calendar, seeing as your argument is for me to accept the cultural win. Perhaps I'm wrong. I hope. Wow, more people know about Ben Shapiro is not a win. Turning people to Christ is a win, and I understand. That is my definition of it. Instead, we get people like you screaming that the only way we can win is for people to compromise their values. Con Inc. is a bunch of libertarians and classical liberals wearing conservatism as a skin suit. And then that's how I feel. And, and it seems like it's already kind of died down, right? I feel like I've not really seen much about the song besides Ben constantly updating us every few hours that he's still number one. But once the opining kind of dies down and everybody's listened to it once, it'll drop off and I'm not going to hear about it at all. And you better believe in 2 months, I'm quote tweeting this exact account because they didn't block me and they should have blocked me when they had the chance. I'm going to quote tweet them from 2 months from now with all the analytics over the song. And you can guarantee someone, and it will be entirely because all of these huge accounts stopped forcing it down our throats on Twitter and everywhere else they want to post it and put it. So we'll see about that. And I know you agree with me, Donnie, but dude, I'm quoting it with the analytics. I might tag Ben Shapiro as well too and be like, how about you guys stop wasting people's time and resources doing this? And just maybe reevaluate where you're putting a lot of your time and energy to kind of help convince people. And to bring up the backup of the movie too, why was that not, if you really want to just throw a wrench into the machine, why would you have just made it free? You put it behind a paywall, forcing people, and understandably, you want to get more people to buy it, to come and pay money into your program. You want to get some value back from the movie. I understand that. I get that. I'm not blaming them for running a business. But if you really wanted to expose it as much as you possibly could, you would have just dropped it for free on X. And it would have been allowed to be here. And they didn't do that. And so again, I'm not But am I supposed to think that their true number one priority, like unadulterated priority, is to just help this country no matter what and help save people? No, I don't think so. I think it could be a 45% of their priority, and then 35% money, and then 5% this, 5% that, whatever it ends up falling into. But when you continually make these choices, you continually kind of clown yourselves out in the public sphere while also not acknowledging a bunch of your actual criticisms. I'm just inclined to not want to listen to you anymore. I'm just inclined to feel jaded. Not that I hate you, but to the level of like, I gotta pull back, man. I can't see tweets from Ben saying he doesn't care about the so-called browning of America and he doesn't give a shit. I can't see all of these tweets about, you screaming all capital, like demanding that we nuke people overseas with U.S. resources, shortly after you said anyone who sends money to Ukraine's an idiot. It's drawn into questions for me. It's set me back a bit because I used to walk lock in step with these conservative guys, dude. I used to be just like that. Everything these guys said, I just took as gospel, essentially, right? Like, sure, there would be some mistakes they would make, but it was nothing that was egregious to the level of like, I'm getting entirely lied to, antithetically to the social structure that they espouse, that they believe in. Particularly like all of these accounts that are America first, but they have in the flag of Israel in there. America first, Israel. What? That's not America first. Even by definition, if you want to use the argument and say like, hey, like we have to help Israel. They're our number one allies. Like we need them. They depend on us. Okay, I get your argument. That argument's not America first. If we are helping our ally, we are giving it resources to an ally and expecting nothing in return. That's us putting Israel first. It's the definition. Like if you're helping someone else, you're putting someone else ahead of your own needs. It's infuriating to be talked down to as if like sending all of this aid to this country it's America first, dude. Like dumping all these millions of dollars over there. That's America first, dude. By the most simplest and technical definition, that is not America first. It's not. And I did want to move off of the Bitcoin thing because I feel like I spent plenty of time on it too. I wanted to move it to. I got some notifications. Let's go to Sovereign Bra because I know he had the one that got bounced off of. So let's see here. Right, so the final piece that I put in there was there's a potential huge debate coming with the red pill, right? Oh, let me get past this Neuralink stuff. If you're not aware, the first human received the Neuralink implant. Right here. Okay. So Myron Gaines, which if you're not familiar, he is the lead host or a co-host of Fresh and Fit with the Fresh and Fit podcast, which I'm not sure if it was started before the whatever podcast, but I mean, they're both essentially kind of equally popular, I would say. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. I don't know if one's like a much bigger account than the other one. I feel like Fresh and Fit came beforehand, but who am I to know? Maybe Brian Atlas has been doing this for a long time and I'm just stupid. But Myron Gaines challenged Sovereign Bra, Leela Grace Rose, who has been on the Whatever podcast. She's been on the Whatever podcast. She's the one that got into that she had that viral moment with Jay Waller, where she kind of owned Jay Waller about the self-control aspect, where she was like, you're a strong and capable man. She's like, you're telling me you lack the basic self-control to do this? And then let's see. I wish I could see this better, man. I don't understand why that heart has to be there. Makes it a little bit harder to read comments. Yeah, he said, fuck, that's concerning. Yeah. Let me get this out of the way too. Let me put myself over here. And Sydney Watson, which I don't think having a feminist on the Christ pill side like helps. Like I don't know if you guys are really familiar with Sydney Watson, but she essentially cost Elijah Schaffer his position when he was working for the Belays, I believe, and then nothing happened about it. Making just a bunch of what's the word? accusations that were unfruitful. But he did challenge Michael Knowles. I think Sydney Watson shouldn't be a part of this debate, though. Or any Trad Khan from the Daily Wire to debate the Red Pill on the Fresh and Fit podcast. So Myron says he's going to either stay neutral or he will be in the debate depending on what the opposition prefers. No, you're good. You're good, Donnie. You can do whatever, man. If I get nuked, I get nuked. It's nothing to me. So he wants to be Rational Male, which is Thomas Tomasi. Yeah, Rollo Tomasi. Then Jay Waller. Then Michael Sartain, who I do not know. And then Andrew Wilson, who I am familiar with. Andrew Wilson's got some good points. I think if you wanted to find a middle ground between the Red Pill and the Christ Pill, I think Andrew Wilson's your guy, your go-to guy. That's at Paleo Christ Gone. He said, let's put the two ideas to the test through debate. Don't back out now. So essentially, these are, forgive me, and outside of Brian Atlas himself, these are the biggest pundits who are very, very open about male versus female red pill politics, and excluding Pearl, which I'm not sure why she was excluded. I feel like she should either moderate or she should lead the red pill. To which Sovereign responded. He said, Myron, challenge accepted. Let's settle this like men for the whole world to see. My team is already assembled. He has Mike Pantil, Christian, This is Foster, Christian, and Timothyology, who I'm unfamiliar with. And then he said he also invited Michael J. Knowles as well. And it's hilarious because he leaves out Sydney Watson. It's like, dude, no, I'm not taking a feminist to help me on the Christ pill, dude. She's gonna sabotage me. I just think it's funny that people think Sydney Watson is trad in any form, dude. Like, people need to look into that woman's background and then unfollow her shortly after. We're fully prepared to crush the degenerate rhetoric coming out of the red pill sphere and to offer actual solutions to the issues facing the sexes in our culture. However, there is one caveat. The debate needs to take place in Santa Barbara. And because Sovereign Bra has a grandma he's taken care of, so he can't really do anything. He actually he had a spaces recently where he talked about how he was like, dude, he's like, I want to get married so bad, but there's no one else that can take care of my grandma. Like, I have to be here. Like, I'm in such a bad position. I can't go out and do these things. I can't go to these events because he's stuck. And I feel bad for him, man, because I've never met the guy personally. I have messaged him before, and he's actually commented on some of my own YouTube videos that I had about him. And just from those little discussions and seeing what he does, I know he's probably 100% behind that, and he is doing the right thing. And I give him props, dude. How many men do you think would stick up behind and stand up for their grandmothers compared to the ones that would leave her alone and let her, sit idly by and be lonely and all that? So I will give him props for that, and I'm praying for him. So, for Sovereign Bro and your grandmother. So to that he says, he proposes that they do it on the Whatever podcast instead, which I'm assuming is in California, meaning that it's closer to his locations that he can go to. I know you view us as competition, and this will be a massive stream. I've already done the legwork to make this worth your while. Brian Atlas has agreed to split the show's revenue 40-40 with Fresh and Fit, and the other 20% will go to the show's participants. Brian has also offered for you to simulcast it to your FNF Rumble channel. You can keep all profits from your Rumble stream. Brian has no dog in this fight, so he will be a neutral moderator here. You cannot moderate this. You've publicly blasphemed Christ, talked a lot of shit, and used your platform to push degeneracy in our culture. You need to be in this debate. And so he goes on to say that the other three besides Myron and Jay Waller have already agreed to do it on the Whatever podcast. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Downey. I apologize. Yeah, I'm very sorry about that. I think it's something's in the air because, I'm not even 4 months, 2-3 months removed from mine passing. Maybe it's a coming of age thing. We're all similar in age, so we're getting to that point in time where we're all going to kind of experience similar family matriarchal changes like that. And it's not fun. It's not something anybody wants to go through, especially when, you're in a family that maybe already is very few. You don't have a lot of people in your family. And so it makes each hit like that just that much more impactful because, your family's, 20 people, it goes down to 19. You got a lot more extra support. You got a family of 5 that goes to 4. It's brutal. And unfortunately, though, Myron responded to this. Maybe I can find it. Myron did respond to this, essentially saying like it makes no sense to do this in California. He said like figure out how to do it, or he's not gonna come, or something like that. But even if it doesn't have sovereign brawl, it would still be huge, right? But that's the thing though too, is like I think it would be a huge loss because I think sovereign is probably the most well articulate of that group of people. Although I have seen a lot of people say this is Foster's the best one to have on this argument. I just think to have someone who's a bit younger and can be as that articulate, it's a little bit more impactful because it's like it's the young guy, you know, it's the youthful one that you put faith in. And yeah, you say you agree, Dawn Pearl needs to be there. She should. I don't know why she got left out. Maybe she doesn't have a good relationship with him, I guess. Oh, here's what he said. Because Myron said, it makes zero sense to involve you when we have a bigger audience, superior equipment, production, and staff to properly do this. Also, you're not a good moderator. The debate will be in Miami. It won't happen, period. We don't need whatever to do this. In which, so Brian had basically said, like, you're not neutral and it would just be pointless to have it. And Myron's just doing his typical, like, he's a huge douchebag, Chad. And so maybe it won't happen just because Myron wants so desperately to be the moderator and he wants it to happen on the Fresh and Fit podcast. So maybe it won't happen. I think it would be great if we had that happen, right? Instead of it being, which I think that should be the dynamic. It should be Christians versus red pillars, instead of red pillars like bashing endlessly over, you know, a bunch of young girls who have no idea what the hell they're saying. Which both of them do. Like, don't get me wrong, like both of them do. At least from what I've seen, it seems like the whatever podcast does try to get like red pill people, Christians, and the degenerate girls who are just like la 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 OnlyFans, come check out. Where the Fresh and Fit seems to be like just those two, a red pillar, and then like 20 females who all kind of think the same way. So I think that there's discourse to be had, and I think there could be a new show brewing where, or I guess not a new show, but like I think an idea could be hatched here where Christians bring on red pillars and then bash them maybe. Like I think that's just a good direction to go, rather and bring and take away how easy it is for these feminists to like attack the whole production itself and the ideas of what they're doing, to be like, look, they just go in there and attack women. Okay, well, how about we just bring on like Christians, and then the red pillars can espouse their ideas of red pill without the women being present there. And then what are you going to say then? Right? Like what, they can't discuss ideas in the public sphere? Like that's dumb. And I would be excited for it to happen. I just have a lot of faith behind Sovereign Bra. I think me and him align like very, very similarly. And I know a lot of people don't go that far on the religious aspect, but I do. So I just like seeing somebody, and for me, it's like I've never seen this much Christianity getting boldly spoken in my lifetime. So to see it happen when I feel like we need it most is one of those things where I'm like, it gets me excited. And, you know, especially when it aligns with what I think is important too. It's just a good feeling. The only other thing I did want to shout out before I bounced was that we did do our third episode on the Offensively Accurate. So number 3, we did do our interview with Wayne. So if you guys wanted to check that out, I have been adding everything to my highlights portion of my page to make it easier. I know you probably don't want to be scrolling through a huge portion of my random tweets to find the media. So I've actually begun trying to just pin anything that's like I'm dumping from YouTube onto X. I'll put it in my highlights portion. I probably have missed a few things, so don't expect it to be 100% accurate. But yeah, we had a bunch of people who tuned into this. It's about almost 3 hours long. I think it's our best episode, I think, so far in terms of like listening value and content you'll get out of it. Some things I will say for myself, like I've been doing commentary in a bit for a while. So and don't get me wrong, I was a server and a bartender for a decade and a little bit beyond that before this too. So I'm good with talking to people. I can talk to people like really well. I can articulate myself. I can bounce. I can listen. I can do all that. What I need to do a better job at and learn better is like interjecting and navigating conversation. I feel I did the show a disservice by letting, and not like by it's bad anything bad by it, but by not parsing or segmenting Wayne a bit more. He kind of like went on tangents that kind of was very easy to lose the directive or the idea or the topic we were talking about. I realized that as I was trying to clip things was like, dude, these clips are like, I can't do a 3-minute clip. It'd have to be like a 20-minute clip to encapsulate the whole idea from beginning to end. And so on my end, I'm like, I need to be, quicker on my feet to like interject and separate things too. Also, part of that was aided by the fact that I had sound issues the moment we started. So I was like, while we're playing and I'm directing and introducing and doing all this, I'm like bent over, like trying to like mess with the aux cords, then have my settings on a third screen and be like, why is this not connecting? And then like, while also listening. And so we'll learn, we'll get better as things move on. And I thought it was a great experience to move forward with, and I think one of the cool things about it too is obviously he's going to, like he said himself on the episode, but he's got a lot of connections and he's spoken, outwardly and upwardly about our show, our mission, and what I'm doing specifically to a few other people. And so I'm expecting to have Nate Wilcox on very, very soon. We'll obviously be having Wayne. We'll have him return. He'll probably end up being a recurring guest. We might want to set up a cool timeline for that. Maybe do like every other, once a month or every other month or something like that. Maybe not to that level. He does quite a bit of stuff. It's hard for him to find time to sit down and have that long of a discussion. So I think for now, then episode 4, we'll be planning to do it at 9 p.m. on Sunday again. Once, however, Nick gets out of his classes and he's freer on the weekdays, on the weeknights, the volume of the show will probably be jumping up. I imagine like we'll probably do 2 a week or bi-weekly. I would like the volume to jump up a bunch more from there, which I believe is going to require me to do a bunch of solo episodes, and maybe I just bring people up. And it's also something too, like Donnie, I don't know if you're in here right now, but also something I thought to run by you too, if we wanted to do like a Tuesday or a Thursday episode, because I forget schedules, of just doing a hardcore like political discussion about like a trending topic of that day, and then we can limit it to like, in like an hour or two if there's not that much time consuming based on how people's schedules are, or see something hot pops up, just jump in, pop a space, and then that way when I'm doing the weekly archival process, I'm able to put up like multiple episodes at once on the podcast platform rather than like just doing once a week, because I really don't feel like we're going to get anywhere with this level or this low of volume. And so that's why I'm trying to support it from all sides by keeping up the RTRP, real-time red pill, which forgive me, I made a mistake because I need to get the content from my previous stream. I needed to get that. I need to chop that some. I put some pieces here on X and on Facebook as well. But so then tomorrow I'll put this stream up on X as well, so I have like a replay, and that'll be my plan too. Like I said, I'm not abandoning YouTube, but I'm probably gonna put all of my energy into doing the podcast episodes, audio format like that. Probably gonna step away from the sit it and forget it videos and focus more on long form content stuff. Yes, you're always down. Yes, okay, cool, Donnie. I will. That's been something I wanted to do too. Keep it on offensively accurate, and then keep it on spaces as well. Because I know once Nick said, or because Nick has already said once he's done with classes, I believe it's on February 15th, he'll be free to do more volume. And even if I can't get Nick or Thane, I'd love to do it just like if it's just me and you, Donnie, and then we can bring up people too. And then I would imagine we would stay a lot more political in that realm too, given the fact that we're both a lot more politically junky than the other two co-hosts are. And that's not like a bad thing, but it provides more diversity. And then when people see like it's me and Donnie, they'll be like, oh, they're talking politics on this one. I want to listen to this one. And go from there. Sorry if my voice kind of cracked there at the very end. I'm trying to think. I don't know if I had anything right off the top of my head that I wanted to say. I know it's a bit slower of a news day, not any like huge things happening. The Texas border thing kind of died down with the Border Patrol kind of backing away and And the tensions, with what happened in Jordan, I've not seen anything after that. I know, Roz Alerts and Disclosed TV was concerned that World War III may blow up last night because of those incidents. But again, I think it's just a lot of the fire being stoked to get people to do dumb things. So with that being said, I'm going to do my absolute best, as my schedule allows it, to do a live every single day if I don't have something scheduled, like with somebody. But I think it'd just be better to do everything on OA. And like if I could get a hold of Donnie and be like, hey, you got a free hour to do like from this period to this period, and we'll run it on there too. And I think that would be sick to do. So yeah, if you think it sounds good, we should run it. We should do it. But possibly this week too. Let me actually, I'll shoot you a message here not too long once I jump off of here. And yeah, and then obviously with ours, we can probably get a little bit more fiery, and we can I would love to like bring people on to like debate with them. I would imagine we can find people who are listening to us who disagree with this entirely, or somebody who disagrees entirely with me but agrees entirely with you. I'd even bring them on, like to go 2v1, and let's hear their perspective too, and battle it out like that. I loved being in this too. Plus with the spaces, I love the spaces because it makes it so we can constantly source things and be like, well, okay, but what about this? And then I drop it into the space, and then you can have that tweet you can directly go to without leaving the platform, and put it in the Jumbotron. It makes it a bit more stimulating than just the audio aspect of it, allowing people to actually interact and then see and read the comments as they're listening to the space that's discussing the actual thing or the topic itself. But I'm probably just rambling at this point. Going an hour and 17. I'm keeping these all around about 80 minutes essentially. This is a bit shorter than the other one was previously, but I had a bit more to talk about in the other ones. So yeah, I don't want to ramble for too long and this just turn into a word mumbo jumbo. But again, I appreciate everybody for tuning in who did. Even you, the other guy who came in and chatted to bring me news about Riot Up Church. It's beautiful. Yeah, that's why I love having the grassroots engagement from people. Random people come in here and jump in and tell me that, things I've never seen. And a part of that is because of how algorithmic things are, right? Like I don't even know what I'm missing. No matter how hard I might want to open my eyes to both sides, dude, everything is so algorithmically driven that like, just because I may have spent 8 seconds on one video and then only 3 on another, I may never see that certain kind of content for another like 4 months. And it's hard to tell what you're missing. So the more involvement and the more engagement from a bunch of other, randos and grassroots accounts, people like you, it just helps me open my eyes as much as possible. And that's too, I just want to be as honest and truthful and as open and transparent as possible. I'm never going to be that guy who like tries to run some kind of agenda. Like my agenda is very open, dude. I'm a very open individual. My only agenda is to bring Christianity back to the temperature it needs to be in this country. So with that being said, I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you for tuning in. Donnie, love you, brother. Appreciate you. Have a good rest of your night. And anyone else who is listening, I appreciate you guys as well. Christ is King, Deuce Fault, God bless, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.